In today's video, we will learn how to cook a simple breakfast while improving your English skills. Cooking is a great way to practice new words and phrases, especially if you love food. This story will guide you step by step, teaching you everyday words and how to use them in sentences. Imagine this. You're in the kitchen, ready to make something tasty, but also learning English at the same time. Doesn't that sound fun? We'll start with simple instructions like cracking eggs, mixing ingredients, and cooking them on the stove. By the end of this video, you'll not only know how to make a delicious breakfast, but also learn some useful kitchen vocabulary. So, grab your notebook and write down the new words you hear. Stay with me till the end, and let's make learning English easy and enjoyable. Let's dive into the story of Sarah, who is about to cook a yummy breakfast for her family. It was a beautiful morning, and Sarah woke up early to start her day. The sun was shining through the window, and she could smell the fresh air. Sarah felt happy because today she was going to cook a special breakfast for her family. She walked slowly to the kitchen. As she entered, she saw the ingredients on the counter: eggs, bread, butter, and some fruit. She smiled and thought, "This is going to be a great breakfast." Sarah opened the fridge to take out the eggs. She knew exactly what she wanted to make: scrambled eggs with toast. It was a simple breakfast, but it would make her family very happy. She grabbed a frying pan from the cupboard and put it on the stove. "First, I need to crack the eggs," Sarah said to herself. She took 2 eggs from the carton and gently tapped them on the edge of the bowl. With a quick movement, she cracked both eggs open and let them fall into the bowl. She looked around for a fork to mix the eggs. "Ah, here it is," she said, picking up the fork. She used it to whisk the eggs, making sure they were well mixed. The yellow color of the eggs brightened her mood as she added a pinch of salt and pepper for extra flavor. After mixing the eggs, she placed the bowl on the counter and looked at the bread. "Now, I need to make some toast," she thought. Sarah took 2 slices of bread and placed them in the toaster. As the bread toasted, she noticed the butter in the corner of the counter. "I'll need this to make the eggs taste even better," she said. She carefully put some butter in the pan, letting it melt. With the pan ready, she felt excited to start cooking. Sarah couldn't wait to surprise her family with a delicious breakfast. Now that the pan was hot and ready, Sarah was ready to start cooking. She took a deep breath and felt confident. "It's time to make the best breakfast," she thought. She picked up the bowl with the mixed eggs and slowly poured them into the hot pan. As the eggs hit the pan, they began to sizzle and bubble. The smell of the cooking eggs made Sarah smile. "This is going to be so good," she said quietly. While the eggs were cooking, Sarah remembered she still had to prepare the toast. She went over to the toaster, and just as she was about to press the button, one of the slices of bread popped up. She quickly grabbed it and spread a little butter on it. The butter melted quickly, making the bread soft and tasty. But then, Sarah heard a small sound: crack. She turned around just in time to see one of the eggs fall out of the pan and land on the counter. "Oh no," she gasped. But she wasn't upset. She knew accidents happen, especially when cooking. Sarah grabbed a paper towel to clean up the mess. It only took a minute, and soon everything was back in order. She laughed at herself. "Well, at least I'm not burning the eggs," she said with a smile. She went back to the pan. The eggs were now soft and golden. She used a wooden spoon to gently stir them. "I have to be careful," she thought. "I don't want them to burn." As the eggs continued to cook, Sarah looked at the bread and noticed that it was almost ready. The toast was golden brown, perfect for the eggs. Once the eggs were cooked just right, Sarah took them off the stove and set them on the plate next to the toast. She added a little more butter to the eggs to make them extra creamy and delicious. With everything nearly ready, Sarah was excited to finish cooking. The eggs were cooking perfectly, and the toast was golden brown. This is going to be a breakfast to remember, she thought. Sarah returned to the pan with the scrambled eggs. The eggs were soft and fluffy, but she still needed to make sure they didn't overcook. She gently stirred them with a wooden spoon. As she stirred, the eggs began to look even better, soft and creamy. She smiled, proud of her work. "Now, let me check on the toast," she said as she turned around to look at the toaster. The toast was perfectly brown and warm. She quickly grabbed it with a fork, placed it on the plate, and spread a little butter on top. The butter melted smoothly into the bread, making it even tastier. At this point, the smell of the breakfast filled the kitchen. The eggs, toast, and butter mixed together in the air, making Sarah's mouth water. She couldn't wait to serve her family. But just as she was about to serve the food, she realized something. The eggs weren't quite done yet. She quickly turned the heat down and stirred them one last time. Sarah was careful not to let them burn. "I don't want the eggs to be too dry," she said quietly. After a few more minutes, Sarah was sure the eggs were perfect. She turned off the stove and looked around. Everything was ready to go. The toast was hot, the eggs were fluffy, and the kitchen smelled amazing. It was time to serve. She carefully placed the scrambled eggs onto a plate, making sure they looked delicious. Then, she added the toast beside them. "It looks great," she thought. Just then, Sarah heard footsteps. Her family was waking up and getting ready for breakfast. She couldn't wait to see their reactions. As Sarah finished setting the table, she heard her family coming into the kitchen. First, her little brother, Ben, walked in. He rubbed his eyes and yawned. "Good morning, Sarah," he said with a sleepy smile. Then their mother entered, followed by their father, both of them smiling and looking ready for a good meal. "Wow, what's that amazing smell?" Sarah's father asked. Sarah beamed with pride. "It's a special breakfast just for you," she replied. Her mom took a seat at the table and said, "You really outdid yourself, Sarah. It looks delicious." Sarah smiled and served everyone their breakfast. She placed the fluffy scrambled eggs on each plate and added a slice of warm, buttery toast. Then she poured glasses of fresh juice and set them next to the plates. "Here you go, everyone," she said happily as she placed the plates in front of her family. Ben immediately grabbed his fork and took a bite of the eggs. "These are the best eggs I've ever had," he said excitedly, his face lighting up. Their mother took a bite and nodded. "You're right, Ben. These eggs are perfect." Their father smiled too, as he took a bite of toast. "Sarah, I have to say you did an amazing job. I'm so proud of you." Sarah couldn't help but feel proud as well. The eggs were soft and creamy, and the toast was crispy and warm. It felt so good to see her family enjoy the meal. As everyone sat down to enjoy their breakfast, Sarah felt a sense of happiness in her heart. Cooking this simple meal had brought her closer to her family, and it had been a great way to practice her English words. She was already thinking of what to cook next. Maybe pancakes tomorrow? Today, we learned how to make a simple and delicious breakfast while practicing some useful English words. From cracking eggs to making the perfect toast, we covered a lot of kitchen vocabulary that will help you in everyday life. I hope you had fun learning with me. Let's quickly review the new words we learned today. Crack, mix, stir, toast, and serve. These are all important words to know when you're in the kitchen, and you can use them in many different situations. Next time you're making breakfast or any meal, try using these words to practice your English. Remember, cooking is a fun way to learn new things. You can try making this breakfast yourself and use the words we learned. Not only will you get better at cooking, but you'll also improve your English at the same time. So, grab your ingredients and get started. Before you go, I'd love to hear from you. What was your favorite word from today's video? Write it in the comments below, and let me know if you want to see more stories like this one. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel for more fun lessons and stories. I'll see you in the next video. Have a wonderful day and happy cooking!